Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, no matter where you are in the world today. Welcome to our first small segment piece that I will be doing to highlight important topics, not only that I believe are informative, but revolve around topics that you yourself have requested. So if you have not yet joined us, welcome. My name is Dawn Krusch, and I'm the creator and founder of We Who Work panel discussions. We Who Work panel discussions are open dialogue discussions with working professionals from all across the globe talking about real issues in real time, guys. So we highlight professionals from all walks of life and give a platform to those who can really be relatable and bring content out there for all of you to relate to all of you. So if you haven't yet been able to join us, check back to our previous videos after you watch this one. Let us know what you think and really share with your family and friends and share with me some topics you would like to hear about. So that's what's really important, guys. It's you that's what's important to me. So continue to share the topics that I can share some information with you and share some knowledge and really bring on new professionals. So as we continue on, if you were present in our second discussion, you know that we touched on the topic of burnout. So we lightly touched on it. And so here today, I want to take the time to spend a couple minutes and talk about burnout with you. So some useful tips, recognizing, detecting, and how you may see it in yourself or a loved one. So I'm really fortunate that I can even have this time to talk about this with you and that it was brought up so organically within our second panel discussion, because this is exactly the type of topics I want to be talking about, bringing information to. Thanks to all of you who continue to watch and share and listen and become excited and really continue to watch this grow with me. So excited for that. And thank you to those who've reached out, asking questions, have shed concerns, want to share on knowledge, and want to share also that they have professionals they want to get on the panel as well. So really excited, guys. Want to take today, talk about burnout with you. So what we're going to be focusing is on what is it, how it affects us, and in what ways that we can work on defeating it. So first things first, what is burnout? So burnout is by definition described as a serious, severe stress condition that leads to physical damage, mental damage, emotional exhaustion. This phrase, I believe, was originally coined in the 1970s, but it's a state of mental and physical exhaustion, guys. So it's like becoming distraction to your career, but also relationships, both family and friends. So again, this is a stress condition. This is a condition that can be cured. It's not necessarily a mental illness. So there are ways of decreasing burnout, increasing the ability to cope. But first things first is just taking the time to acknowledge that this is something that's occurring and taking the steps that are necessary in decreasing your symptoms and increasing your hope. So take this today and maybe take the time to take a pen and paper out and jot down some things that you've been feeling and see how they relate to our topic today. So burnout is something develops over time with stressful occurrences in our life. Even with stressful occurrences that are important to us and that we love. So if you're caring for a family member, if you're taking on new responsibilities at work, if you're employed by an organization that you don't feel like you align with, all this over time can start to become something that you feel symptoms of burnout. So if we're not conscious of how we feel, if we don't take the time to decompress, we touched on decompression in our second panel discussion, but decompression will look different for everyone, guys. So the way that you decompress might be different from the way that a friend decompresses. So it's important to recognize that as well. So when you take the time to recognize these symptoms, take the time for decompression, that's important. So how? So we're going to move from the what to the how. So now we want to move into how this affects us, how it rears its ugly head. Burnout affects us really, like I said, in all different ways. It can start to build without us even realizing it. And it's really important when burnout is occurring. It's occurring because there's a really high consistency of stress on either our mind or our body. So it's really important, like I said, to remember that burnout affects us really in all different ways, all different times. And it does not discriminate against you on color or where you grew up or what your profession is. So just remember, guys, any one of us can be vulnerable if we're not taking care of ourselves. So it's more of how we manage our stress and how we normally manage our stress from a day-to-day basis before it gets kind of out of hand, which is a burnout sensation. So if you've ever read anything about burnout, you can also see that burnout at times has been said to affect people with a type A personality. There is statistics about that if you want to check it out, guys. That is because type A typically is needing more control, so they might have a higher experience of burnout. So if you know that you're a type A and you know that you need more control, maybe this is something to recognize in yourself or recognize in a friend or a family member so that you guys can share some information. This is about helping one another, helping yourself. Feel free to reach out to me or any other professional you think is necessary. So I want to reiterate that our bodies are so different. So our day-to-day and our systems and how we recognize this can be different. So some simple ways that is important for you guys to see that you're maybe experiencing burnout. First, I would suggest if you're having frequent illnesses. So if you're getting sick all the time, if you're battling a low immune system, you find yourself that you're really getting sick really frequently, there's probably more going on than just an illness. So seek a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor, but it's important that if you're having frequent illnesses, does this relate to stress? Can we recognize this? So it's about seeking that help as well. So the next thing would be a lack of motivation. So this is really important, guys. Lack of motivation towards something like this, really lack of motivation to see anyone, complete any tasks, do anything in your day. It starts always really heavy on you. And so that lack of motivation then in turn creates more of a stress system as well. So it's a really crucial part in burnout, as well as irritability. So if you're becoming increasingly more unpleasant with those around you, really even those family or friends as well, you may find yourself on a short fuse, or you may find that a friend is on a short fuse. Reach out to them, ask them some questions, see if you can get to the bottom line. Of course, don't pretend to be a doctor. If you are not a doctor, always seek the help that is necessary. But it's about realizing, are you having these frequent lack of motivation or irritability? So it's acceptable to have irritable moments. We all have irritable days. We're all human beings, but it's about the consistency of irritability over time. So another good way to detect would be isolation. So if you find yourself isolating from others or not wanting to reach out to others or talk to family or friends, this can be a huge red flag. And if you're not willing to talk about your stressors that are going on with a friend or a family member, I do recommend seeking a professional as well, because, the isolation is also a system. So when you start to become isolated and you put yourself in that system, trying to get yourself out of that system alone can sometimes be very difficult. So, and the last one, it's in the definition, but exhaustion. This is the biggest one. So if you're feeling emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, feeling emotionally exhausted, feeling physically exhausted, all of these can lead to the feelings of isolation, can lead to the feelings of irritability. So they all are kind of inner working in themselves, guys. So being able to detect even one or more of those things within yourself, is important. So moving into the last part, I want to discuss defeating burnout. So the last little part of our segment is going to be about defeating it. So like we said in our discussion, number 2, we talked about it with Janine and Lindsay, which was amazing. Like I said, it happened organically, which just feels so good because these are important topics we need to be talking about, guys. So if you haven't used your sources, use this as a source to learn more about burnout. But being able to recognize it, being able to defeat it, all of these are important aspects of it. But with this last part, as we talk about defeating it, I want to really say how it's going to look different for everyone. I know I keep repeating that, but it's really important. And I think that sometimes we base how we feel on others or how we see others reacting or trying to defeat a situation. And you have to remember that you're an individual, you're bringing your own human system, and the way that you might work through a problem, work through burnout, or solve an issue in your life may not be the same as a family or friend. So being respectful that everybody is different and that everybody deals with things differently is so important. So one of the first ways I would say that we could defeat this would be to seek a therapist or counselor. Sometimes people feel that there's a lot of taboo around that, depending upon your beliefs or whatnot. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, seek out a family or friend. But I do recommend seeking out a professional, because a professional will be able to talk you through the process without any bias or judgment. So that's so important, guys. Without no bias or judgment there, you're able to get a clear perspective from a professional who can not only guide you through, but can allow you to do the work yourself and give you the tools to work through your problem. So another thing would be scheduling relaxation. I mean, it sounds crazy to think that you need to schedule relaxation, but sometimes, with how fast we're moving in this day and age and everything changing, we really do need to schedule relaxation into our time. We need to schedule that self-care. It's such a buzzword, self-care, we hear, but it's so important that we really take the time to do that self-care so that we're not depleting ourselves of all of our energy. So another thing that I would recommend is taking more frequent breaks. So when we allow ourselves to take more frequent breaks and step away, reassess a situation, we actually stay more productive. So giving ourselves the permission to step away, regroup, taking that otherwise time that would be unproductive moments in front of your computer or at your desk or resolving an issue with a coworker, no matter what it is, taking those breaks so that you can decompress and you can come back as a better self. So lastly, one last thing I want to leave you with in defeating it is getting organized. I mean, my degree is in organizational psychology, so I am a very organized being in all different sense of that ways, whether it be through work or my personal life, within my professional life, in my relationships, in my house, in my room. Everything is pretty organized. I'm a human as well, but taking the time to get organized with your daily tasks, your goals, your living space, your thoughts, really anything. When you get organized like that, situations start to unfold as feeling more manageable. So again, I think it's so important staying organized in all areas of your life. But if you need to start with one, start here today, guys, with just organizing your thoughts, organizing the processes in your brain, and then go ahead and move on to your goals, because that's what's important as well. So there we have it. Some information about you, our burnout, from my brain to your ears. So I hope no matter where you are today, reading this, listening to this, watching this, you can recognize in yourself or maybe a partner or a friend. Share this video with them. Let valuable information spread throughout a time of a lot of misfeed, because we are seeing that on a lot of different platforms. But this is not misinformation. This is all real information. So some may ask, why even make a video at all? But you know what? My thought is if there is one person here today that this reaches and recognize, and somebody is able to maybe recognize something within themselves that they can improve or change, then my job is here today. It's all done. I did my job for today. So let that be you. Let that be you, that you take something away from this and that you can learn or share with a friend or share with a family member and continue to spread the knowledge. So keep remembering to recognize what we talked about today. Over time, it does take a lot of time, guys. It's not something that you're just going to step away from and decompress one day. And I really wanted to drive that home because I wanted to make sure everybody understood that, taking the time to educate yourself and becoming more knowledgeable is what the goal is. So continue to spread the word, continue to become your best self. We Who Work is not only about talking to working professionals out in the field, it's also about we who work to continue on becoming our best selves. So I'm really excited to see how we can all continue to grow, how we all continue to grow this platform. So stay healthy, reach out to one another, reach out to me. I'm so excited for this platform to continue to grow and to talk about other informative topics with all of you. So really stay wealthy, stay healthy, and I can't wait to see you all again really soon. Thanks so much.